Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks. Sorry for the delay for this video. I wanted to focus on the Forbidden Door show on Sunday, so I skipped doing the video yesterday, so I'm going to bring it to you here today. So we're going to start off with Ring of Honor, and technically it was like right before Collision, at least this first part, as Samoa Joe, the current TV champion, gets an updated title design, which we did see on AEW Collision last week. So, yeah, good looking title belt. It does look the samey as the other titles that got redesigned, so we'll see about that. Next up, we got an 8-man tag team match playa. You got the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Rey Fenix, Commander, and the current reigning defending AAA Mega Champion, Hijo del Vikingo, taking on Serpentico, Kip Sabian, Butcher, and The Blade. And honestly, this was pretty much the Luchador showcase, including Serpentico getting some good stuff in. Butcher came in, pretty much overpowered the Luchadors. But inevitably, after a Fear Factor, your winners, Vikingo, Commander, and the Lucha Brothers. Next up, a surprisingly high-flying matchup between Gringo Loco and Willie Mack. These two had some really good chemistry together. And then after a Shining Wizard and a Spanish Fly getting his first taste of victory on Ring of Honor, Gringo Loco. So, definitely good to see him get a win. We'll see where that goes from there. Next up, a very interesting matchup between Trish Adora and Allison Kay. If I remember correctly, these two faced off in the Ring of Honor Women's Title tournament when they crowned a new champion during the pandemic. This match was definitely, a little bit sliced up for time, but overall, I did think this was a heck of a match. And then your winner via the Lariat Tubman, which I love that as a finisher name, it's Trish Adora. Next up, in a surprisingly competitive matchup, you got Silas Young, former TV champion in his own right, taking on Kyle Fletcher of the United Empire / Aussie Open. Yeah, this match was really good, real technical wizardry, but your winner after a big old reverse DDT, Kyle Fletcher. The Embassy squashed some boys, some jobbers, in a pretty much 2-minute flat match. The local Yokos did try to come back, but inevitably the Embassy overpowered them. Next up, in a really good match, you have Dalton Castle taking on Josh Woods. Obviously, you have Smart Mark Sterling ringside, and then you have Dalton Castle's boys. This match was a lot of fun to watch. Dalton Castle is always a delight in the wrestling ring. So your winner via the Bangarang, Dalton Castle. We then get to see backstage the Kingdom confront Stokely Hathaway, pretty much saying, well, now that you're in power, you can give us what we want, and we want a shot at those tag titles. So then Stokely pretty much says, yeah, why don't you go out there and earn them? I don't just hand people opportunities. So then that leads to this next matchup, the Kingdom versus the Infantry. Now, they have had a myriad of matches, these two, usually ending with Maria Kanellis interfering and then the Kingdom picking up the win. This time, however, the Infantry had a little backup as Trish Adora came down to ringside and took on Maria Kanellis, which then led to a roll-up. Your winners, the Infantry, getting their first win on Ring of Honor TV. Gonna be interesting to see where this rivalry goes, because now it's 3-on-3. Next up, tag team match player. You got Lee Moriarty and Big Bill, the former Big Cass, taking on Blake Christian and Matt Sydal. Definitely a lot of good high flying from Christian and Sydal. Lee Moriarty looked right at home with these guys. And Big Bill did his Big Bill stuff. He was the big guy. He was the super heavyweight. Then, after an East River crossing, your winner, Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. Then we get a backstage interview with the Kingdom, pretty much saying, yeah, we're not done with the Infantry. Stokely Hathaway screwed us. Now we want our revenge. We then get the Bang Bros, which, yes, that is their tag team name, taking on Stu Grayson and Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order. And yeah, it was pretty much the Dark Order show. Your winners, after the massive combination that I always miss out on, your winners, the Dark Order. We then get the Righteous up on the screen. Pretty much Uno reiterating a promo from Evil Uno, pretty much asking them, will they bleed for me? This is from Stu Grayson to the Righteous. And then he asked, will the Dark Order bleed for me? This match was definitely what I needed to see out of you guys. But next week, you guys step it up. Dig what I'm saying? I love Vincent. Vincent has such a way with words, man. Then we get a matchup between Diamante. No, hold on. Then we get a backstage interview from Diamante. Then Mark Sterling and Layla Gray interrupt, with Sterling pretty much saying, look, you don't want to mess with Gray. She's a baddie. She knows what to do in the ring. So how about instead, you just take the money we give you, we split the purse 50-50, and then we walk off. Then Diamante says, yeah, I ain't going to do that. I'm going to take 100% of the purse and win the match. So, that's something to look forward to. As we go into that match, Layla Gray versus Diamante. Diamante definitely dominates a bit early on, but Layla Gray eventually does come back. Hits a reverse DDT. Then Mark Sterling gets up on the apron, distracting the ref. And then with the roll-up, your winner, Layla Gray. So, we'll see what happens after that. Next up, we got the Workhorsemen and Shane Taylor taking on AR Fox, Darius Martin, and Action Andretti in what was a really interesting power versus speed matchup. These six worked really well together. And then your winners, after a big miss with the stomp and a roll-up, your winners, AR Fox, Action Andretti, and Darius Martin. Then we get a Mark Sterling / Layla Gray interview. Pretty much saying, yeah, Diamante, we beat you fair and square. Now it's time for us to move on to bigger and better things. Diamante then intervenes. Pretty much says, yeah, I want you guys again. You guys screwed me out of a victory. And I'm going for 100% of the bag. So, definitely something interesting to look forward to. A little story with the women's division. Next up, Pure Rules Action, as Daniel Garcia takes on Rocky Romero. And this match absolutely was pretty much Pure Rules to perfection. Daniel Garcia with more his ground and pound / technical style, while Rocky Romero went high flying. But your winner, after a Dragon Tamer, although Rocky Romero had all his rope breaks expunged, spent, so he tapped while going on the outside of the ring. So, in a Pure Rules match, that counts. So your winner, Daniel Garcia. Post-match, Daniel Garcia keeps the Dragon Tamer on Rocky Romero. This brings out Orange Cassidy, making the save. Cassidy and Garcia obviously are involved in the Fatal 4-Way match at Forbidden Door, so we'll see how that goes. Finally, your main event for Ring of Honor. It is for the Ring of Honor Women's title, and it's a Chicago street fight as Athena takes on Kyrie Hogan. And this match was absolutely brutal. Lots of good back and forth. They used tables, they used thumbtacks, kendo sticks, trash cans. But your winner, after a suplex from the top rope to the outside into a stack of chairs, your winner, Athena. Then post-match, we get an Athena interview. She's pretty much asking, yeah, where are my flowers? Where's my celebration? Where's my due I was owed? Now that I'm done with Kyrie Hogan, it's time for Ring of Honor to have real recognize real and to step up or step out, which Athena has pretty much been the best thing on Ring of Honor, and I can't wait to see where she goes with that title. Alright, that is Ring of Honor. We now move on to the A Show, SmackDown. And we start off with the Usos in the ring, cutting a promo, pretty much going through what's been going on with the Bloodline, and then pretty much saying, on Saturday, Roman, you're going to be counting the lights, because we're going to dethrone you from your throne, and welcome to the Uso Penitentiary. It's been a while since I've heard that line. Great to hear that come back. So, next up, we got a singles match as Rey Mysterio takes on L.A. Knight. Yeah! In a nice, well-paced little match. It wasn't terrible, although LA Knight was supposed to be in a triple threat match with fellow Money in the Bank participants Butch and Santos Escobar. So that obviously got cut for this match. And, fun little match. Then after a BFT, your winner, LA Knight. Post-match, LA Knight tries to rip Rey Mysterio's mask off. That brings out Santos Escobar to make the save. So, we're gonna see what happens there. Next, we see Solo Sikoa walking with Paul Heyman backstage. He's obviously in a mood. They both run into Ridge Holland. Pretty much says, yeah, excuse me, mate. And then Solo whips Ridge Holland around. Samoan spike right to the throat. And Ridge has been taken out. A little while after that, Sheamus is at his side asking who did this to the crowd that was around Ridge Holland. Sheamus then goes out to the arena, stands on the stage, pretty much says, "Hey, Solo, you took out one of mine? Well, I want you in this ring tonight." And that match is obviously made. We got Sheamus versus Solo in the main event. That should be a lot of fun. Next up, we got the Women's Tag Team Championship Unification match as Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, the WWE Tag Team Champions, take on Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. And honestly, this was a nice competitive little match. It went on a bit shorter than I really wanted it, but I do feel like Fire and Dawn definitely got their stuff in. But then after an armbar, Karafuda clutch on their opponents, your winners by submission, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Then Ronda Rousey gets a microphone. She pretty much spots Raquel Rodriguez, who was on commentary for this match. Pretty much says, "Hey, where you going? Get in here." Raquel Rodriguez gets in the ring. She has a mic. Raquel pretty much says, "Yeah, I want a rematch with you too. For the titles, me and my partner never lost." Baszler pretty much says, "Oh, I only see one of you. Who's your partner?" Out comes Liv Morgan, making her big SmackDown return after injury. Glad to see her back. And they face off for a minute. Looks like something's going to happen. Rousey and Baszler then just leave, which, that's going to be a fun matchup coming up. I believe that's now set for Money in the Bank, so that could be a fun little matchup. Now this segment I could have lived without, because of course it's the Grayson Waller effect and his special guest stars, Pretty Deadly. They talk about their upcoming title match with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Pretty much going over their history, how they started with NXT UK, winning their titles on their first night together, and how they beat everyone in the gauntlet match last week to get this shot. And then this brings out the Street Profits. Pretty much saying, "Oh, you guys said our name, so now we're out here, and we want the smoke." And that leads to a nice little tag team match playa, as Pretty Deadly takes on the Street Profits in what was a fun, not really pointless little match, but still very entertaining. And your winners via the roll-up, Pretty Deadly. So, not a bad little match, but I wish there was a bit more to it. Next up, we've got Charlotte Flair versus Lacey Evans. And this was pretty much the Charlotte Flair show. And your winner after a figure 4 into the figure 8, Charlotte Flair. Post-match, Asuka attacks Charlotte with the title, and that's going to be interesting. We then see Adam Pearce backstage talking on the phone to somebody. Then Bianca Belair walks in, pretty much says, for next week's title match, I want to be ringside, and I know I can defend myself when provoked. But in the end, Adam Pearce told Bianca Belair, you're barred from ringside for this match. I wanted to go down fair and square. So, that's going to be interesting to see how Bianca retaliates to this news next week. And finally, for SmackDown, it's Solo Sikoa versus Sheamus, and these two looked like they were going to beat 7 Shades of Bang out of one another. Went back and forth a couple times. Sheamus tried at one point for 10 bells of the Bowery. Solo gets out of that. He eventually does hit the strikes. He goes for a brogue kick, misses. And then, weirdest thing, both are out on the outside. Sheamus is out, kind of hanging out on the guardrail. And then Solo with a hip attack that clearly missed. And that caused a stoppage. So, I'm not 100% sure who won here. But then, as the medics are checking on Sheamus, Solo continuously throws them off of Sheamus. Looks like he's going to do some more damage. This brings out the Usos. Both sides meet in the ring. And the Usos just hit Solo with a dueling super kicks and dueling Uso splashes. So, that gets the Usos a little momentum over Solo and Roman for this week's show. Next up, we got AEW Rampage, as we got a 8-man tag team match playa. We got the United Empire, which is Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, TJP, and Jeff Cobb, taking on the team of Swerve Strickland, Chaos members Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and Rocky Romero. And yeah, this was a nice little showcase match for everyone involved going into Forbidden Door. And then Tour of the Island by Cobb, Hidden Blade by Will Ospreay. So your winners, Swerve Strickland and United Empire. We then get a little look at Tony Storm versus Willow Nightingale for Sunday. We then get a story time with Adam Cole, baby, which is immediately interrupted by MJF. He then reveals that, I was just done talking to Tony Khan. This Sunday you'll have a match, and it's against Filthy Tom Lawler. Now, ultimately, spoiler alert, this match was called off because Adam Cole got sick. So, no Tom Lawler for Forbidden Door. And, while MJF is still talking, Tom Lawler and I want to say it was Simon Gotch, I could be wrong, slip into the ring and start beating down Adam Cole. In the meanwhile, MJF is like, I'll save you, partner. Takes off his watch, takes off his jacket, saunters down to the ring. At that point, Lawler and his boy bail, and MJF was like, so close. Then he turns to Cole and pretty much says, good luck to you, partner. Now, obviously, sadly, this match didn't happen, which hopefully down the line we'll be able to see it. Because I think Tom Lawler versus Adam Cole would be really good. Next up, we got the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn pretty much squashing a couple of job guys in what was definitely one of the most one-sided matches of the night. Then this is where the weirdness starts. Next out comes, I forget her name. She was the blonde woman in the QTV stable, and she's seconded by some Jabberwockies. And she goes up to Acclaimed and pretty much says, not only am I a great athlete, I can also rap. She then goes into a rap, kind of dissing Max Caster, and hitting on Anthony Bowens, in which he pretty much retorts, you think I'm into you? She says, yeah. He pretty much says, well, I don't know if you're just stupid or blind, but if you check out my gear, I'm gay. In which, yes, Anthony Bowens is gay in real life, outside the ring. And then the weirdest chant happens. He is gay. He is gay. Which, honestly, is just weird and then also kind of wholesome at the same time. Then out comes the rest of QTV. That's QT Marshall, Aaron Solo. No Powerhouse Hobbs, which I felt was an interesting call. Pretty much saying, hey, I don't know if you didn't hear that rap. That was fire. You should really let her in the group. Then one of the Jabberwockies takes off his gear. It's John Hennigan, or as he's now known, John TV, which that might be the worst name he's ever gone by. Then QTV then takes out the Acclaimed. So, yeah, that was interesting. We then get a look at the main event for Rampage, which is Swerve Strickland versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, which I never thought I'd be seeing that. So that's cool. And then we get our first matchup of the Owen Hart Cup. Sky Blue takes on Anna Jay, in which what was a real nice back and forth. JAS Members 2.0 eventually did get involved a little bit, but didn't cause DQ. Then after the Code Blue, your winner, moving on to the next round, it's Sky Blue. We then get a little look at the Collision main event, which is Ricky Starks, FTR, and CM Punk taking on Bullet Club Gold and the Guns, in which we'll get to that one in 2 seconds. And, oh no, wait. Swerve and Tanahashi is on Collision. My fault. My bad. So your main event for Rampage is actually Jungle Boy taking on Just Five Guys member Doki. And this was an amazing bout. Like, obviously Jungle Boy is a great in-ring competitor, and Doki just pretty much showed out for the Toronto crowd. But, end of the day, your winner via the Skull End, which is Sonata's finishing submission finisher, Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And right on the dot, out comes IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Sonata for a stare down with Jungle Boy. And let me tell you, you know what, I'm not going to give spoilers for my review. That'll come tomorrow. And, yeah, Rampage was a lot of fun to watch this week. Interested to see what's going to go on in the weeks to come. And Fine Alamo. We got Collision, the go-home show to Forbidden Door, and it really didn't disappoint, as we get first Chris Jericho and Minoru Suzuki trying to shake down Tony Schiavone for the answer on who Sting and Darby Allin's partner is. Eventually, Sting and Darby Allin come out, pretty much saying, yeah, he's a man you're very familiar with, and he beat you for the IWGP Intercontinental title. That's right, it's Tetsuya Naito. He comes out and has a little stare down with the heels. And also, apparently Sammy Guevara wasn't there that night. I'm not sure what happened there. Hopefully he's okay. We then get a Miro promo. He pretty much says, yeah, I'm not following my God anymore. I'm just going to do me, and I'm going to win for me. So, an unhinged Miro. Definitely going to be interesting to see what Miro does from here. Next up, we got Swerve Strickland versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. And, oh boy, was this match a lot of fun. There was some little bits where Tanahashi didn't look as crisp as he usually does. But, end of the day, via the high fly flow, your winner, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Then MJF's music starts to play. We're thinking, oh, he's going to be in-house. But then it's revealed he is on the big screen via pre-recorded message. It's pretty much going to say, yeah, at Forbidden Door, I'm going to embarrass you, Tanahashi. And then once I beat you, I'm not staying in Canada for long, and I'm still going to be AEW World Champion. And you're not on the level of the devil. I love that line. Next up, we got Brody King, 1/3 of the Trios Champions, taking on Andrade El Idolo. And these two... This was a great mashup of styles. You got the Lucha Libre styles of Andrade and just the powerhouse moves of Brody King. But match ends with Andrade hitting the figure eight. If you don't know, Andrade and Charlotte Flair are an item, so that's pretty neat. But before Brody King can tap, out comes Buddy Matthews and attacks Andrade. So Andrade gets the DQ win. Attack continues post-match. Then you have Malachi Black's face on the video screen, and it all goes to black. So that's going to be interesting to see what Andrade pulls. I think Andrade definitely needs some backup against the House of Black, because they're definitely a force. Next up, we got a Christian Cage promo. He's holding the TNT title, and he's pretty much acting like, yeah, I'm the champion. Luchasaurus won it for me. Pretty much asked what it's like to be back in Canada. Pretty much says, yeah, this is where I grew up. This is where I got my start. But as soon as I left, I was happy because then I was winning titles. Toronto pretty much populated by losers. Let's look at the Maple Leafs. Goes down there, recent history. And the only slightest chance of hope you had was with the Raptors, who were being carried by Kawhi Leonard. Now that he's gone. He then reveals with the TNT title, there's no more open challenges. If you want a shot, you gotta earn it. And you gotta face my right hand of destruction to get there. So, that's definitely a interesting little take. Gonna be interesting to see how AEW treats this title run. Next up, we got a little CM Punk Kojima vignette, hyping up their match for Forbidden Door, which never knew I wanted until I saw that. That's going to be awesome. Speaking of the Owen Hart Foundation, this is match 2 of the women's bracket of the Owen Hart Foundation, as Nyla Rose takes on Willow Nightingale, and this trade-off for power was absolutely excellent. While neither are super technically sound, this was a really, really good matchup. And eventually, after a pounce and a gut-wrench powerbomb, your winner, moving on to the next round, Willow Nightingale. And Willow definitely has an interesting 24 hours. This brings out the entire Outcast crew. Saraya is back in action. They look like they're surround the ring. They get in. Looks like they're going to spray paint Willow. out comes Sky Blue with a steel chair, and she's looking to destroy some fools. Next up, we got a Scorpio Sky interview. It's good to see Scorpio Sky back. He's legitimately been one of my favorites in AEW to watch. Pretty much saying, yeah, even though I've been pretty much winning in AEW, I've struggled. I couldn't handle the spotlight until now. I've been champions, the first AEW Tag Team Champion. I've been a 2-time TNT Champion. And now, after tonight, you're going to find out who Scorpio Sky really is. And, whoo, I can't wait for that. We got the most one-sided fight between Powerhouse Hobbs and the Jobber. Couple moves in, Spinebuster, your winner, Powerhouse Hobbs. Nice little way to heat up Hobbs a little bit after losing the TNT title so suddenly. And finalamo, our main event of the week, as you got CM Punk, FTR, and Ricky Starks taking on Bullet Club Gold and the Guns. And let me say this was a fun matchup to watch, including just hearing all the boos for Punk. Like, I honestly thought the reactions to Punk would be a little bit more mixed, but apparently outside of Chicago he's going to be a heel. So it's kind of a Bret Hart in Canada situation where he's face in Canada, but he's heel everywhere else. I think that's what we're going to be seeing with Punk. He's going to be babyface in Chicago, heel everywhere else. And this match was a lot of fun, including, seeing Jay White and CM Punk sharing the ring. Like, eventually, I think we gotta see these guys one-on-one. Like, that match would be awesome. Lots of good near falls, lots of great teamwork. Then, after a Blade Runner, your winner, Bullet Club Gold and the Guns. So, CM Punk, second time out for Collision, pretty much his show, he loses. In which, this is going to be interesting to see where this goes. Does this now cement the Guns as Bullet Club Gold members? Because, I gotta tell you, I wouldn't say no to that. Alright, and that'll do it for this week in wrestling. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to review Forbidden Door. And then on Thursday, I'm going to give you my predictions for Saturday's Money in the Bank show. Friday, it's going to be the recap show for Raw, NWA Power, AEW Dynamite, Impact, and MLW Fusion. So, I hope you guys stay tuned for that. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. And happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.